back by popular demand. A few months ago, I hosted a 15 minutes to quilt challenge where I invited fellow quilters into my sewing room to sew along with me while I made progress on quilt projects. I had a lot of fun with it, and so did my viewers. They all asked for it to return. So now, back by popular demand, I'm bringing back the 15 minutes to quilt challenge with a little twist. It'll be a fun time for you to just sew along with me, and we'll just sew together on making our own quilt projects. Instead of working on 31 different quilt projects, one a day, what I've decided to do is to work on this one project, this on-point scrap quilt. You'll get to see progress on this quilt from start to finish and watch it evolve as I change my mind and make decisions along the way on how to make this quilt. The other twist is that this video series will be once a week so that you can sew along with me every week. If you want to sew every day, you're welcome to do that. I have lots of videos on my channel that you can watch to sew along every day. Welcome to day one of the 15 minutes to quilt challenge. I'm going to work on this on-point quilt that I started for the on-point tutorial. For the on-point quilt, I cut up some squares and triangles so I could show you how to lay out a quilt on point. For me, this was just a practice piece, just an example one so I could experiment. But I decided that I really like the colors on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and sew it up to make a quilt. But I would like to make it bigger. A simple quilt like this will just look nicer with repetition. So today I'm going to cut up some more squares for this quilt. The fabric for this quilt come from scraps from my last two quilt tops that I made, but I decided I want to jazz that up a little bit more so that this quilt doesn't look too much like my other quilts. So what I've decided to do is to add some more fabric. I like this purple color. I think it's going to complement these other pink, dark pink, purple colors, and the bright color I think is going to look good with this quilt. And here's a close-up of this fabric. I also really like this color. I think this will also complement the quilt. It makes it a little bit more pink, which I like. Let me show you a close-up of this fabric. And then to keep it from getting too pink, I found this blue-green fabric that I think will complement the colors in this quilt well. Let me show you a close-up of this fabric. I also found a scrap of this purple fabric that I've already used in this quilt over here. This one I've used in a lot of my quilts. I like to use fabric from other quilts to provide continuity for my quilts, and I like to be able to use up this fabric if I can do that. And also, because all the other colors are dark, I think I need another light color, so I think this green color would work well for this. This one makes me feel like it's a fabric that came from my other quilts, but I don't think it is exactly. It's similar to the one that I used. You can see that it's similar to this green one that I used for the quilt, but this one is plain. It doesn't have the speckles that this other quilt did. You can tell from the fraying and the cut corners over here that this is a washed fabric, which means that it's very old. It's been in my stash for a long time because I stopped washing fabric a long time ago, and so I'm happy to be able to get to use this fabric to try to use that up. I don't think I'll be able to use this up completely on this quilt unless I add some to the backing, or maybe I can use it for a border, or maybe I can use it for the binding. Although I think I'd rather use a darker binding than this. And last but not least, I found this light green color. I really like the pattern on this fabric. I think this will add some interest in the lighter colors of the quilt. And here they are all together with this quilt. And I think they will add all of these will add a nice touch to this quilt to make it a little bit different from the other two quilts that I've made. Because the 15 minutes to quilt sewing challenge is like you coming into my sewing room, I thought that this would be a nice friendly way for you to feel just right at home in sewing with me. Okay, so let's get started cutting. As you can see here, I have plenty of fabric to add to this quilt. This is the last on-point quilt that I made. I'm just making another one with these scraps. It'll be bigger than this, and hopefully I'll take more care in finishing the quilt so that I don't lose the points at the ends. So as you can see, I have plenty of fabric to make this quilt, but I just thought it'd be fun to add some extra variety to the pieces that I have for this scrappy on-point quilt. Here's my collection of fabric I have so far. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this. This fabric was used in the Pink Explosion quilt. The selvage ends on this quilt are much bigger than the other one. Might as well use up this fabric while I can. It's the right size. For the most part. Looks like this part won't be able to make it though. Cutting this into 1.5 for one of my other scrap quilts. I recently changed blades on this cutter, but it looks like it needs another one because I've been cutting a lot of things. the blade real quick. Just change cutters instead. And I'll change that blade later. Looks like I made a mistake in the cutting here. There's a space here that's not done. Maybe it wasn't completely straight when I made the original cut. My 15 minutes are up. I'm going to go ahead and cut this fabric because I want it to be done. This one has a tiny selvage, which is nice. Okay, so at the end of day one, I was able to make a decision on making my on-point quilt bigger. And I also cut fabric, both lights and darks, so I could continue on with my on-point quilt. I still have a couple more pieces of fabric. I have the green fabric I still need to cut up and the purple. But I guess that's a project for tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed watching me make progress on this quilt today. I hope that you too made lots of progress on your quilt project. If you want to sew along with me every day instead of just once a week, I'm going to post a link to the 30 Minutes to Quilt Challenge videos so that you can catch any of the ones that you missed. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you in the next video.